For last quite some time, I have been talking about cancer prevention, writing articles. મારી જે સિરીઝ ઘણા બધા લોકો વાંચતા હશે ગુજરાત મેડિકલ જર્નલમાં, એમાં મેં about 20 આર્ટિકલ્સની સિરીઝ લખી કેન્સર પ્રિવેન્શન પર. So while going through that, I realized that almost all the major non-communicable diseases are having very similar risk factors. So it is not that we have to talk about cancer prevention separately from other non-communicable diseases. કે આપણે જ્યારે હેલ્થની વાત કરીએ છીએ તો all of us want to be healthy. We don't want to be cancer free. આપણે when patients also come to us, or જ્યારે આપણને આપણા રિલેટિવ્સ ફેમિલી મેમ્બર્સ કોઈ પૂછે છે તો જ્યારે કોઈને કેન્સર થાય છે ફેમિલીમાં, they come and ask બહુ કેન્સર વધી રહ્યું છે, શું કરીએ, કેન્સરથી કઈ રીતે બચાય. કોઈને એટેક થાય છે તો they come and start talking about cardiovascular disease કે કેમ કરીએ, બહુ વધી રહ્યું છે. So everything is, they are not coming to us for one specific disease but to be healthy, and that is all of us also want. So diet is what everybody talks about. क्या खाओ ना खाओ, and then exercise. That is the two most common thing people talk. But lifestyle is much more than that. So I have decided in this topic not to talk about diet, what to eat. ये part आपने बात नहीं करता. And we talk about very little about some exercise, more physical activity rather than exercise, and we see how these two things are different. But this is a very wide topic. So the idea is to give you a broad understanding and to stimulate thinking that lifestyle is a very, very wide idea and you cannot limit it to just very simplistic thinking. આપણે એઝ અ હ્યુમન બીંગ વી ઓલ વોન્ટ ટુ થિંક વેરી સિમ્પલ કે કંઈક મને એક સોલ્યુશન કહી દો. સો વેધર ડૉક્ટરની ટોક હોય કે જનરલ પબ્લિક, બધાને એમ હોય કે સાહેબ આવીને 2 સ્લાઇડમાં બસ એવું કહી દે કે આ ખાવાનું અને આ નહીં ખાવાનું, આટલું કહી દો તો યુ આર વેરી ગુડ ડૉક્ટર. સો I am not going to give you that simple a picture. It is going to be more complicated, and we all know that human biology is much more complex and we are connected to the whole universe in many different ways. So એ બધાની અસર આપણા પર થાય છે. Let's see. So when we talk about lifestyle, majority લોકો lifestyle શરૂઆત વિચારવાની ક્યારે કરે છે કે when they are settled in career. About 35-40 પછી પહેલી વાર વિચાર ચાલુ, અથવા તો એ ડૉક્ટરો માટે આ લેટ ચાલુ થાય, એન્જિનિયર્સ માટે વહેલું ચાલુ થાય વિચારવાનું, અને અથવા તો ઘરમાં કે બહુ નજીકમાં કોઈને કંઈ મોટી બીમારી આવે એટલે સડનલી એવરીવન વોન્ટ્સ ટુ નો અબાઉટ લાઈફસ્ટાઈલ. તો શું કરીએ, શું ના ખાઈએ, શું ખાઈએ, સવારથી માંડીને મારું એક રૂટીન કહી દો. એન્ડ લોટ ઓફ પીપલ હેવ ધીસ ક્વેશ્ચન કે પેશન્ટને લઈને આવે એમના રિલેટિવ કે કાકા એ તો ક્યારેય ચા પીધી નથી, ધાણાની દાળ ખાધી નથી, બહાર કદી ખાતા નથી, તો આમને કેન્સર કઈ રીતે? So when we talk about lifestyle, it starts from before the birth. We now know that our health is affected by so many factors. So just some examples. In utero, cytomegalovirus infection can lead to childhood acute infant leukemia. MPN એટલે myeloproliferative disorders, જે CML, polycythemia vera, એ બધા. These are the diseases. એના માટેના mutation can start from in utero. Very elegant studies done in this field to show that first mutation was acquired in utero as a fetus. Then after some years another mutation, and then after another 10-20 years third mutation, and that led to development of say polycythemia vera or essential thrombocytosis. Now we are learning that lot of diseases are a multi-hit process. That means it is not one mutation or one issue that leads to the disease. So, पहली एक warning आवे, बीजी warning, त्रीजी warning like that. This is what we know for pulmonary embolism or deep vein thrombosis also. It's a multi-hit disease. Like that, I'm sure for many other non-communicable diseases that same thing. Early life exposure to various infections can cause later cancer development. These are published in our major journals. So it starts with the life before birth. Childhood and adolescence are other very critical areas. This is a study of adolescent exercise having association with mortality from all causes, including cardiovascular disease as well as cancer among middle-aged and older women. And this is a study involving 74,000 women. In all the slides, majority studies I have highlighted the number of participants in the study. એટલા માટે કે this is a very large scale research. This is not some 50-100 patient research કરીને it's very authentic, well published data. There are many studies. We will not go obviously all the studies, but this is to show that જે તમે સ્કૂલ કે કોલેજમાં if you have participated in sports, if you have participated in outdoor games, જો તમારી એ વખતે લાઈફ sedentary નથી રહી તો you have a lifelong additional protection. So this is very important because આપણા બધાના અહીંયા બેઠેલા at least 50% લોકોના children અત્યારે એજ ગ્રુપમાં હશે. So very important to focus. અને જે વધારે સિનિયર છે એમના ગ્રાન્ડ ચિલ્ડ્રન માટે you can think of this. કે outdoor activity, physical activity, sports are very important, and the prevention of NCDs starts from childhood. In utero, then childhood. So it is important to start focusing from that time. Then night shift increases the risk of breast, GI, lung cancers in women. This is another 140,000 cases and 39 lakh participants, 3.9 million. So these are huge data. I will give little more detail about the night shift as a risk factor for various cancers. Dental hygiene and cancer. So આપણે આ વિચારતા નથી. We always think about diet and exercise. So poor dental hygiene is associated with risk of breast cancer, lung cancer, esophagus, gallbladder, melanoma. So this is not some very simplistic thinking કે unhealthy હશે તો બરાબર છે oral cancer થઈ શકે. It's understandable. But there are many other issues. There are many studies in the cardiovascular field also that if you have a poor dental hygiene, you have a higher risk of heart attacks. And there are a lot of theories for that. Some of that is that the bacteria, virus, other pathogens that keep collected in our mouth, they intermittently go through the bloodstream and deposit in any of these organs, including joints and other. So different diseases they can cause. And this bacteria, their genome have been found in the different organs, and a lot of other studies have been done to say that this what are the reasons. Antibiotics can lead to colorectal adenoma, and colorectal adenoma we know that is a very well known precursor for colon cancer. That is why colonoscopy is a screening tool for colon cancer. Where 10 years in advance you can find adenoma and you can prevent turning it into cancer. So this is important because we have the habit of taking antibiotics for very small things, right? Jarak, sardi, khasi, very minimal symptoms. We want to quickly get back to work. So are our patients. એમને પણ બધું fast જોઈએ છે. And nowadays, at least in pediatrics, I think there is more awareness, and the pediatricians have started reducing their prescription of antibiotics in children. And this is very important that even for adults, we need to remember this. too much vitamins increase cancer risk. So this is another thing. Everybody wants to become healthy, more healthy, super healthy. Today is the time of getting super healthy. So if 2 milligram is good, 200 milligram must be better, 2000 milligram must be even better. That is what most of the people think. And so multiple high dose vitamin supplements are available, and none of these are proven to be safe, and in fact there are studies to show that they may actually be unsafe. So these are studies of involving 77,000 participants, and it was associated with increase in lung cancer risk among men. So too much vitamin, even too much B12, there is some studies that potential association with myeloproliferative disorder, some myeloid disorder. So considering many of these aspects, the MD Anderson Cancer Center experts have written a review article where they are saying that cancer is a preventable disease that requires major lifestyle changes. So this is coming from the largest cancer center in the world. Over last 2-3 decades, lot of people started thinking that cancer is all genetic disease. And so if we learn all the genes and then we figure out that what is causing cancer in myself or whatever particular person, then I can solve that. So the person who did the first complete genome profile, that scientist has said that the biology is so complex that the diseases are an interplay of our genes, many of the lifestyle, climate, and many things that we don't know yet. And so it is a very complex interplay, and knowing the genes alone is not going to solve anything. And this is what we are learning more and more. So now, disclaimer. So lifestyle is a very wide topic. I don't follow all the advice that I am going to give. So please, don't hold me to that કે સાહેબ તમે તો હમણાં જ આમ કર્યું કે આ કહો છો. જેટલા મને ઓળખતા હોય મને પકડતા નહીં. એટલે this is something we need to understand. Every individual is different, and our health needs also change during different phases of life. So for an adolescent, for a 35-year-old, for a 55-year-old, the health needs will be different. So we have to understand, and even among the people sitting here, you would know, even in our own household, that every individual will have a different amount of water intake, different amount of sleep, different amount of exercise that they can tolerate, and even the foods that some can tolerate this, some can tolerate this. So it is a very individual thing. All points that we are going to discuss may not seem practical, but it is important to know the science, and as I said earlier, that we have to start thinking about this, that lifestyle is a much broader topic, and don't try to simply restrict yourself to what to eat and how much to exercise. આ બે સિવાયની ઘણી બધી વાતો બહુ જ અગત્યની છે. Lifestyle is responsible for most of the common diseases that we see today, and because of these changes, we are all seeing very early problems. So all doctors would have experienced કે આ જે પહેલા 60 પછી જે પેશન્ટ આવતા એ હવે 40માં આ પ્રોબ્લેમ લઈને આવે છે, કે 30 વર્ષે આ પ્રોબ્લેમ લઈને આવે છે, અથવા તો એનો નંબર્સ બહુ વધી ગયા છે. What are these diseases practically? Most of the things that you see today is on that list. Okay? Heart issues, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, stroke, dementia even. Okay? Osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, obesity, sleep disorders, depression, insomnia, lack of drive in general, suicide, sexual issues, lots of GI issues, acidity, reflux, constipation, fatty liver. Many of you may have heard that the NAFLD is becoming a very important issue, and lot of cirrhosis now without alcohol or hepatitis. Benign prostatic hypertrophy, various eye and ear issues, dental issues, many symptoms that we label them as psychosomatic or hormonal are also likely related to these. Lot of menstrual issues, infertility, and various musculoskeletal problems also. So as we discussed earlier, that risk factor for cancer and most of the major NCDs are fairly common. So if you see the website of American Cancer Society and American Heart Association, you will find many overlapping things. Very important thing we have learned over the years is that younger the age for risk factor, bigger the impact. So if a child starts taking tobacco, they develop cancer by college time, which is what we have started seeing now. Earlier, the tobacco use generally started after the age of 30, 40. And that is why cancer happened after many, many years. Many of you may have heard of very young heart attacks also. The same thing. That early risk factors are leading to much bigger impact. Same way, if you do the preventive efforts early, then also the impact is bigger. The data that I am going to talk about is primarily based on the epidemiological studies and some randomized trials involving hundreds to few lakhs or several lakhs of patients. So now this is one quiz time. This is the only question I am going to ask, so don't worry. What is the number one factor that you think affecting health and longevity? Out of these questions, how many people think one is most important? Just raise hand quickly. Number one is what? Other. तो पेलू पेपर फूटी क्यों लागे बीजा कोई डॉक्टर ने પેલી MCQ સોલ્વ કરવાની જે જબરદસ્ત આવડત હોય ને અહીંયા દેખાય તો we all know કે ટીક ક્વેશ્ચન આમાં કંઈક બાકી છે કે જ હશે બાકી તો બધી વાતો થઈ ગઈ ઓકે so you are right આ બધા ફેક્ટર્સ which we think are the most important એના કરતા કદાચ વધારે ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ ફેક્ટર એ છે જે હાર્વર્ડની એક એડલ્ટ ડેવલપમેન્ટ સ્ટડી કરીને છે જે અબાઉટ 80 યર્સથી ચાલી રહી છે so what they did they compared about 700 graduates of Harvard College with another similar number from the poor neighborhood of Boston. એટલે હાર્વર્ડના જે છે એ બધા હાઈલી એજ્યુકેટેડ જનરલી રીચ વેરી હાઈ ડ્રાઈવ મોટિવેશન ફોર એવરીથિંગ ઇન જનરલ કેરિયર ઓલ ધેટ અને બીજા જે છે એ બધા પુઅર નેબરહુડમાંથી આવતા એન્ડ દે ફોલોડ ધેમ ફોર જનરેશન્સ ઓકે સો નાઉ દે આર ફોલોઈંગ ધેર થર્ડ ફોર્થ જનરેશન્સ એન્ડ દે ડીડ follow up questionnaires for them then as they got more sophisticated they started doing blood tests for them MRIs of brain and other areas very fine sophisticated testing also they added and now they are in the 80-year plus with 5th program director now following this study and the finding that they have seen is relationships. Huge surprise. Social connect is the biggest factor for healthy life and long life and not just for physical health but also mental health and this they have seen very consistently so much so that after the about I think 50 years or so they started predicting કે અત્યારે જે લોકો 50 years ના છે mid life and these are their characteristics so what will happen to them by the age of 70-75 so not just retrospective but started predicting and there also they found this very consistent that connect the good relationships were the biggest factor. What the details they have figured out is that quality of relationship is more important than the quantity. એટલે ફેસબુકમાં આપણા 300 ફ્રેન્ડ આમાં કોઈ કામના નથી. Please be very clear. This is social connect, which is an in-person connect. And the way they define means that you can count on that relationship in the times of need. એટલે જે સ્પાઉસ રોજ ફાઇટ કરતા હતા એમને પણ this applied because they had the feeling subconsciously કે મને કંઈ થશે તો વાઇફ કરી લેશે કે હસબન્ડ કરી લેશે. I have that security on the back of my mind. So this was very, very important. The relationship that you can count on. So in the joint family or in our grandparents' time, there were many relationships that you can count on. Multiple family members, friends, સમાજના લોકો, ગામના લોકો. That was a very important factor. Now social connected people, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be colleagues or different communities also. Today you see that there are some communities which are very connected. Either religious community or a social group or they take care of each other. કોઈને કંઈક થાય તો એમને ઘરે દવા લઈને કે શાકભાજી લઈને પહોંચી જાય. એમને છોકરાને સ્કૂલે લઈ જવાનો પ્રોબ્લેમ હોય લાવવા મૂકવાનો એ સોલ્વ કરે. So lot of different things they will take care. So in some way or other, if you are socially connected, they also saw that those who made new friends after retirement did better. For example, તમે retire થયા and you moved to a different town. So now you have no old friends. If you try to make new friends and again make a good connect, then you still did well. પણ જો તમે મહેનત ના કરી કે હવે બહુ થયું, હવે 60 વર્ષે શું હવે નવા ફ્રેન્ડ તો બને જે છે આટલા આપણે ટીવી જોયા કરીએ અને આ કામ ચાલે છે અને પેન્શન આવ્યા કરે છે, બીજી મહેનત કરવાની જરૂર નથી. They did worse. So making social connections is important. And somebody asked them, then why is this so hard? It is too important. So because keeping relationships is a lifelong task, and this is where most people lose patience. આજે આપણી પેશન્સ ઓછી થઈ ગઈ છે એટલે આપણે થોડો ટાઈમ મહેનત કરીએ પછી whether it is colleagues એમાં પણ આપણે પેશન્સ જતી રહે છે, ફેમિલી, ફ્રેન્ડ્સ કે બેવ બીજું સર્કલ બની ગયું છે. હવે બહુ થયું, આ છોડો, આ ગ્રુપમાં કંઈ મજા નથી આવી. હવે આ 10 વર્ષ તો ચાલ્યું, હવે બહુ થયું, મેક અ ન્યુ ગ્રુપ. So this is how patience. We change organizations now frequently. We change jobs, hospitals, whatever. So our relationships don't last that long. So there are many theories about relationships can be important, but in short they say that there is wear and tear with the stresses of life, and that inflammation in the body leads to many different diseases. Many of you may know that cardiovascular disease, heart problems અને persistent inflammation ના બહુ બધા સ્ટડીઝ છે. એવી જ રીતે multiple cancers અને persistent inflammation ના સ્ટડીઝ છે. So what they are saying here is that when you have good stress handling, these things lead to less damage. Loneliness is the biggest killer as per this study. So I think stressed this point enough that relationships are the most important part of being healthy, and so please focus on that and teach your children also the value of this. So lifestyle, I am not going to go through this detail again, but as we said, it starts from before birth and it takes all different areas, how we deal with our celebrations, how we deal with grief in the family or our circle, related to pregnancy, pre and post pregnancy, at the time of menopause, when different weather, how we deal with that, at work, so many areas. So lifestyle is not just what we eat and how much we exercise. What we know about cancer today, what are the causes? So tobacco is about 30% factors, and you will also know that it is the most powerful risk factor for heart attack as well. Smoking is a much powerful risk factor for heart attack compared to cholesterol. Alcohol, no amount is safe. Now there are several studies, WHO and American Society of Clinical Oncology have clearly announced that no amount of alcohol is safe. એટલે પેલું one drink per day is safe. એ બધી વાતો હવે unfortunately જતી રહી છે. Sad. Sorry. Lifestyle responsible for 30%, infections are responsible for about 20%. So this is also very important because when we are talking about prevention of these diseases, the hygiene, personal hygiene becomes very, very important. 40% of cases in America today for cancer are related to obesity. 40%. That's a huge number. And this is a largely preventable problem. Air pollution and others and hereditary is only 5 to 10%. So એટલે બધા જે genetic પેલું cause શોધવાનો પ્રયત્ન કર્યા કરતા હોય છે કાયમ, that is only 5 to 10%. Coming back to the night shift, I will get some more detail on that. So night shift increases risk of various cancers. So this is directly from the CDC. The Center for Disease Control US, which this is a quote directly taken from their website, that night shift increases the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, metabolic disorders, and sleep disorders. They also may have an increased risk for reproductive issues such as irregular menstrual cycles, miscarriage, and preterm birth, digestive problems, and some psychological issues like stress and depression. So this is not just some hearsay thing. This is Center for Disease Control USA, the US government, the most authentic website, which will not post anything just like that. And how do they define this night shift risk factor? Work for at least 3 hours between midnight and 5 AM. 12 થી 5 સુધીમાં જો તમે 3 કલાક અથવા વધારે જાગો છો તો આપણે કેટલા બધા ઘરમાં અત્યારે young people, especially children, teenagers માટે daily night shift નો time હોય છે, right? They are not doing night shift and yet they are doing this frequent night work, so 3 or more nights per week, long term 10 or more years, and beginning this early in the adulthood before the age of 30. So આપણે આગળ જે વાત કરી, younger the age for risk factors, bigger the impact. This is very important and all of you are seeing this in your practice also. Okay, જે લાઈફસ્ટાઈલ બદલાઈ છે એટલે હવે તમે ઘણા બધા ડિસીઝીસ જે ઓલ્ડર એજમાં થતા હતા તમે હવે વહેલા જુઓ. So night shift is today's epidemic problem, and so we discussed it that youngsters really have this. And why does this happen? Circadian disruption can harm biological systems that help prevent cancer. For example, melatonin જે રાતના 10 થી 2 ની વચ્ચે પ્રોડ્યુસ થાય છે. That is why the ideal time to go to bed is before 10, because 10 to 2 is the time for producing melatonin, and that has cancer prevention as well as many other properties. And you also know that pineal gland is the master of all the endocrine glands from pituitary below, and pineal gland is producing melatonin. This is very important. This is an important preventable risk factor that is in our hand. Also on the other hand, being a morning person leads to lower risk of breast cancer. So if you sleep early, wake up early, then there is less risk of breast cancer. We also know that other than diet and exercise, other risk factors for cancer, for breast cancer, early menarche and late menopause, no children, late first full-time pregnancy or full-term pregnancy. So if the first pregnancy is below before the age of 20, then you have a 20% lower risk of breast cancer. As I said earlier, a lot of these things are not practical today, right? એટલે જ મેં પહેલા disclaimer મૂકી દીધું. But it is important to know, because if you know the science, somewhere you would have you would do at least some alternate efforts to care for it. A very important statement: a woman's risk of breast cancer is determined primarily by what she did before the age of 30 years. So again, coming back to this, for your children, for your grandchildren, at least be very careful. Start making important lifestyle changes. As an investment use, if you start early, you get bigger benefits. You can start late, but then you have to do a lot more effort, right? So આ બધા માટે પણ prevention શક્ય છે, but we have to do much more efforts. Whereas if you do it for children, they would have much bigger benefits. Good news for Gujaratis. So spicy food reduce cancer, heart disease and lung disease. બધી વસ્તુ ખરાબ નથી. બધી સ્લાઇડ ખરાબ મૂકું મારે વચ્ચે એકાદ બે સારી પણ રાખવી પડે ને. So this is again large study, not small. Huge number of men and women studied. So of course everything in moderation. Please કોઈ ઘરે જઈને મારા નામે જબરદસ્તી તો ના ખાઓ. You will have other issues also. But it is important to notice sedentary behaviors, TV viewing time, and risk of young colorectal cancer. We see a lot of young cancers now, and one of the risk factors is this, that 70% higher risk of colorectal cancer if there is 14 hours or more TV watching per week. This sounds scary for everybody, right? રોજના 2 કલાક, અઠવાડિયાના 14 કલાક તો સહેજે થઈ જાય. Yes, when these studies were done, they did not study the mobile. So this started very early. So this is with the TV, but now we have to also think of adding screen time for the mobile also. So please remember, the physical activity is very important, and some or the other way you have to think more activities in your life, so that you have less time to do this. We have discussed this adolescent exercise already. Now one good news is that if you are not able to be physically active every day, so I will just make this short, that if you can do exercise, that 45 minutes, 1 hour proper exercise, the benefit is here. If you cannot do that, but if you can do only on the weekend, the benefit is here. So the difference is not very big. Okay? So say તમને રોજ ટાઈમ નથી મળતો, તો at least on a weekend you have sports, bicycling, walking, running, dancing, cleaning the house, trekking, whatever you can do. Okay? But big physical activity that you can do, if not all the way physical exercise, then at least this on the weekend, and if not that, then every day be active with at least about 4 minutes of exercise bouts. It doesn't mean like formal exercise, but આપણે દાદરા ચડીને જવું. The advantage of this wearable devices is that they have been able to research from that. એ લોકો એમના પહેર્યા હોય wearable device, એનો ડેટા કાઢી and they collected and connected it to the diseases and mortality. And in that they found that તમે shopping માટે જાઓ છો and you are carrying the grocery bags for about this 4 to 5. અમેરિકામાં બધા મોલ બહુ મોટા મોટા હોય, આપણા તો તરત આવી જાય, but and then parking is also far away. So if you walk 4-5 minutes, if you go up the stairs, you do little gardening, you clean the bathroom, any of these also lead to the protection level at this level. So this weekend and proper exercise. So at least જે exercise proper નથી કરી શકતા એમણે એવું વિચારવાની જરૂર નથી કે આપણે હવે કંઈ કરવાનો મતલબ નથી, છોડો હવે આપણે સ્વીકારીએ. આપણી પાસે આ બીજા ઓપ્શન્સ પણ છે અને this is what you can do for you, for your family members and your patients who are asking you what. Dry fruits improve survival in colon cancer and in some other cancers. And आज મને ઘણા લોકો પૂછતા હોય કે ડ્રાય ફ્રૂટમાં હાઈ કેલરી હોય એટલે એનાથી વજન વધી જાય. So good news is that many studies done with dry fruit consumption, the people who use dry fruits, આપણે nuts જે કહીએ, they were generally leaner. So there are some substances in that also controls weight. So you can advise your patient that any calorie ના ગણશો પણ તમે રોજના 10-15 દાણા જે પણ બદામ, કાજુ, અખરોટ મળી અને કેટલું મિનિમમ ખાઓ. When it comes to alcohol, men and women are not created equal. Okay? So equality here apply nothing. So a bottle of wine has a cancer causing potential of 5 for men but 10 for women in terms of the risk for the cancer. So હવે જે સોશિયલ ડ્રિંકિંગની વાત હોય છે એ કંપની આપવા માટે હવે women have also started drinking, but their risk is significantly higher, almost double compared to men. Same way, like to moderate drinking linked to some cancers in women and men smokers. So I highlighted this point earlier that no amount of alcohol is safe, including binge drinking on the weekend. એટલે ખાલી શનિ રવિ આસુ લઈએ એ પણ સેફ નથી. One slide on this, we talk about ahar, vihar and vichar. Ahar we haven't discussed as planned. Vihar means all these activities, exercise, sleep, etc. And then vichar. So there is very little research done in the field of allopathy today on this point. But we have some or other sense that it has an impact in many ways, and it will take some time to get more research because it is very difficult to quantify this. But we know indirectly, for example, depression has a 50% chance of leading to obesity. And obesity, as we saw, is a big risk factor for cancer. That 40% of cancer in US are related to obesity. And you know the cardiovascular disease also and many other diseases related to obesity, diabetes also. So depression, similarly, we know that there is something called as brain gut microbiota axis. એ હવે ઘણા બધા લોકોએ વાંચ્યું હશે કે how our brain, our intestine and the bacteria that live in the intestine have a very close communication, and our bacteria produce the same hormones that our endocrine glands produce and same neurotransmitters that our brain produces. So there is connection of thought and our health. Because of time, we will not go into the detail of that, but you can read in my series which is on my website in the blog pages where I have given more detail of how it affects the hormones, the thoughts, the neurotransmitters and our health in many ways. So in summary, when patients ask me what to do for lifestyle, I say follow your grandparents' lifestyle. That is the one line answer. મારા મોટા કાકા કહેતા કે પેર કો રખો ગરમ, પેટ કો રખો નરમ, સિર કો રખો ઠંડા. That kind of powers everything. એને એમાં એક પાછળ બીજો સેન્ટેન્સ હતું એ નથી રાખ્યું કે ફિર ભી આવે વેદ તો મારો ઉસકો ડંડા. But if you do this, you can understand this is a very nutshell wisdom of our elderly very nicely covered in this. I think we can skip this in the interest of time, but I'll just give very quick highlights in the couple of slides that start from childhood. Very, very important. I cannot stress this enough that children we need to focus on for lifestyle. Our grandparents' lifestyle was the ideal way, having social connect, little bit of spirituality, simple diet, and physically active life and time. They followed daily routine very much. So diet, we are not talking. Ultra processed foods are known to have issue with multiple health issues, not just cancer but heart diseases, obesity, many things. How to eat is a very important concept that we will talk if people have time in the question. But this is more important than what to eat. And again, you can read my article on that. Obesity, we have discussed this. Alcohol, late to sleep, we have mentioned this. Mental health focus is learn and teach your children how to handle stress, value of relationships, how to maintain them, some spirituality as a source of strength and guidance, and whatever way they can do yoga, meditation. Good mental health is also important for prevention of tobacco, alcohol-like addictions, because people with stress many times start this, or because of peer pressure, image issues, they start doing this. And the largest number of tobacco onset, new tobacco chewer or smoker starts between 15 to 25 years of age. So this is very, very important time to focus on. We have discussed the importance of hygiene, only clean mouth we discussed, but all the oral hygiene is very important. And little use of antibiotics and other medicines for simple ailments. No fixed prescription for all. Any burning questions?
I have a question.
Only burning stomach. So if no questions, I think we'll stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiran, for giving excellent information beyond the lifestyle modification for prevention of non-communicable disease. Now I request Dr. Mehsana to give moment to Dr. Chirag Shah as a token of appreciation and love from I am Mehsana.